Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode. I think this is episode 11. Episode 11, don't quote me on that, of the LFGM podcast. Let's fucking go Mets. Matt, I said this last time. I'm going to say it again. We're another day closer to live action baseball, real freaking baseball, not spring training. It's right around the corner, and it feels really, really good. As every minute, every second passes by, I get more and more excited.
I didn't realize we were on episode 11.
I feel 11, right? It's a lot.
We're like double digits. I didn't know we hit double digits.
I should have mentioned that last week. We're in double digits.
It's a long time. Not a lot of episodes, but it's a long time because it's one episode a week, so it's like 3 months.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of talking with you.
Yeah, we made it. We made it. And we're going to make it to, by this time next week, by our next episode, we'll be talking about spring or opening day.
Training.
Opening day is next Thursday.
I know. Very exciting. Very exciting stuff.
Good.
Anyways, so the big news as Tucker jumps up on top of me, can you see him in the corner? The big news in Mets land today is that we had 3 players reassigned. And we basically were confirmed that Joey Lucchessi, aka Meatball Man, is going to be our 5th starter. And I'm excited for Lucchessi. We get to see what he's got. We get the lefty in the rotation. Kind of sucks for Yamamoto. I thought he had a really nice spring, but he gets the nod in AAA. We get Lucchessi in the majors, and we go from there.
Joey Meatballs deserves it. Joey Meatballs, hopefully he's not going to serve up meatballs, but, had a decent amount of Ks through his innings and overall looked good, had good command. So, we'll take it. We'll take it. And I'm sure, we'll definitely be seeing Yamamoto at some point, so it's not the end of the world for him, really.
For sure. I agree, and I think that's the right way to take it, and I think Yamamoto tweeted something out like that too. He's like, always look at the glass half full, not half empty. And it just goes to show you that. And he probably would have been a starter in Miami and on the major league roster. And we have some depth at the starting pitcher position for the first time in what seems like a long time. So it's a sign of good things for the Mets. Maybe a little bump in the road for Yamamoto, but nothing major. I mean, he'll be in the big leagues. I would imagine for I don't want to say the majority of the year because you just don't know, but he'll be up. He'll be up sometime, like you said.
I thought it was weird that like the Marlins got rid of him when they definitely could have used him, and then like probably 25 other teams, maybe not 25, but 20, 25 other teams might have him as a starter.
Yeah, and you could say similar, but not associated to the Mets. But the Braves couldn't wait to get rid of Fultonevich. And he's with the Texas Rangers now. I mean,
they're trying to fix him. He imploded over the last year and a half. So he was pretty sick in like 2018, 2019, and he lost it a little bit. And that's kind of like he's trying to have like a career resurrection over there.
Yeah, and that's the right place to do it. And I don't think the Mets are in a place right now where we're taking career resurrection type guys and keeping them on the major league roster. Not that Yamamoto is that. It's just like you said. I think the front office kind of valued Lucchessi a little bit more, regardless of the spring training numbers. Lucchessi is a lefty, I think, which helped him out a little bit here, and he gets the nod to start, but doesn't mean 2 weeks into the season something could be different. So we'll see.
Back to Fulte a little bit. That was one reason why I was like hesitant on the Mets signing him. Remember, there was like that little mini rumor. I was like, I don't know if we're the team to really get him going.
No, we don't need to.
I think we made the right choices with like guys like Lucchessi and Yamamoto.
I agree. Yamamoto we got for next to nothing, and you could say Lucchessi the same thing. And Lucchesi's going to be a starting pitcher for us this year. So And Yamamoto will be too. So all good in Mets land with the starting pitching rotation. So it'll probably round out as DeGrom your 1. I would imagine Stroman your 2. Walker's going to be your 3. Peterson your 4. And Lucchesi is going to be your 5.
I'm down with it.
Yeah. And so then we had 3 players that were reassigned today. That is going to be, I'm reading it off of, just so I don't get it wrong, but it's Corey Oswalt, who actually pitched today, and today is Wednesday for our listeners. He looked pretty good today going up against the Cardinals. He had pretty good numbers this year in spring training. I think, a Met fan would say we've seen this one before. So he was reassigned. Bruce Maxwell and Brandon Drury also. No surprises there. They were both reassigned. So they're, I think, no longer on the 40-man roster. Correct me if I'm wrong there. And they that's going to be a big setback for those 3.
Yeah. I mean, nothing really surprising though. I guess you didn't expect like Oswalt to make the team, right?
So, yeah, I don't know. I think you can make an argument that he could be a really good long man for the team, and a good bullpen piece. But
I mean, I don't need to see that.
Yeah, I think it's also, what is a long man anymore? Teams don't carry that. It's just not really. It's not really a valued position in a bullpen by any means.
It's weird because a lot of teams, or not a lot of teams, but there are teams that have openers essentially have multiple long men, right? And because you have a guy that goes 2, and then you have another guy that goes 3, and then the third guy goes 2. It's like, well, everyone's kind of just like.
Yeah, that kind of like piecework style to a bullpen. I just, when you picture a long reliever, you picture a guy coming in for like mop up duty, coming in like the 2nd inning and getting it to the 6th and just, keeping things afloat.
It's always 12-2.
Right, and there's just bullpens aren't built like that anymore.
Darren Oliver.
Right, Darren Oliver is literally the first guy that comes to mind for me, but bullpens aren't built like that anymore. You don't plan to be down 12-2. I would think, and so those 3 get reassigned off the 40-man, and we'll see. I think what happens is they have to pass through the waiver wire, right? I don't see anybody going after Maxwell or Drury. I could see a team taking a waiver on Corey Oswalt like the Mariners did with Walker Lockett, but I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, also pitching, I don't know how many teams have like guys that are going to be out to start the year or whatever, but yeah, you could definitely see that happening.
So they have that 10-day period where you can trade them, and then after that, it's kind of like up for grabs.
So you need like 2 teams involved. So hopefully, maybe if that's the case, we get, I don't know, something.
I think it's a lot doesn't happen at this time of year because other teams are setting their rosters and their 40-man and who they want in their 26. So you don't see a lot of movement. It's kind of like a unwritten rule type thing, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. The one thing that I am going to take away from this spring training is how Mets Twitter was all over Francisco Lindor early and how he was kind of giving people, like, he was scaring people a little bit. And we sat here and we were like, there is no reason for anybody to be worried. This guy is absolutely raking right now. His numbers the last like 4 or 5 games are through the roof. And I think the Mets have 3 of the top 10 OPS guys in spring training right now. And like it is spring training, but it's Lindor's in the top 10, Alonso's in the top 10, and Brandon Nimmo's in the top 10. So these guys are coming into form, and we should be ready for to hit the ground running here.
It's more important for some guys more than it is for others. Like if Francisco Lindor hit zero for this whole spring training, I wouldn't be worried. I don't remember him even struggling. I think it was 2 games or whatever. So that I pay no mind to that. But I do hold weight in someone like Brandon Nimmo. Like he really came ready to, if he struggled, we might be a little bit worried. We might be having someone else in center field for the opener.
Yeah,
the
George Springer crowd would be going nuts right now.
So it means more to certain guys. I will say that.
For sure. And I think, it's, and you mentioned this all the time, but I think it's nice to see Pete kind of coming back to form a little bit. And you always mention, the guy was on pace for 43 home runs last year. It's not a bad year. But maybe the eye test just wasn't there. I don't know. Maybe we just didn't see as many doubles or as many hard hit balls. I do remember him striking out a ton in 60 games last year. So
that was the alarming thing, and just like some of the quickest at bats and like shittiest at bats you could ever see, and just him like chasing down in the zone and like getting beat up high, and so it was more so how he was like
taking the first pitch, swinging out of the zone on the second pitch, and ground ball double play, or swinging at a high strike on the third pitch. Some of those at bats, the approach was just not there, and it seems like he's coming refreshed and ready to go.
Yeah, no, it's good to see.
For sure. I'm pumped for a full year of Lindor. And just to go off on like Lindor for a little bit here, I was reading something today that said the prediction for him is 10 years, $320 million. And I would sign up for that right now, 100%.
Yeah, I hope it gets done before next week. I don't know.
I'm running out of time. It feels like the Mets are a little closer with Frankie than they are with sorry, I can't call him Frankie. He doesn't like that apparently. Feels like the Mets are closer.
Do 10 push-ups.
I'm not going to go do 10. Maybe afterwards I'll do 10 push-ups, but not right now. But it seems like we're a little bit closer to a deal with Lindor than we are with Conforto. And what I will say is the front office has been hush-hush, and you can't get a word out of them. And the rumors have gone like dead silent on these contract extensions. So it's kind of nice. It sucks as a fan, but it's nice to see that, there's some professionalism in the front office.
Yeah, you're not used to that. I just want to wake up in the morning, like have an ESPN notification that says that we've signed both of them, be like, roll back over and be like, all right, cool.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. I think maybe next week when we do the podcast, we might be a little bit closer, some more info there. What did come out was the ESPN Top 100, and I was a little ticked off when I read this. I think ESPN does this shit on purpose because they know how to get people like me all riled up. But Jacob DeGrom was listed as number 6 in the top 100. And right in front of him was Garrett Cole at number 5. It's such a stupid argument because I don't want to argue with Yankee fans. I have no interest in doing that. We play you guys 6 times a year? Like it's not worth it. And it's comparing apples to oranges in different leagues and different divisions. But this one pisses me off. Jacob DeGrom is the best pitcher in baseball, and Garrett Cole is ranked in front of him in the ESPN Top 100. I just hope this is another thing that DeGrom puts on like a little Post-it note in his locker room and uses as motivation for the entire 162-game season.
What if he did it like in Billy Madison and he puts on the lipstick?
And he just red Sharpie through it?
Yeah.
Man, I'm glad I called that guy.
Yeah, no, that's what I think of when I see these lists. But I mean, like, dude, they do this on purpose, man. I don't give a fuck. Like, I will say, like, I always say, like, DeGrom has blinders on or whatever, and he's just focused on pitching. I do think he sees something like this and is like, like makes a mental note, like, all right, got you. Yeah. Let's see something here. But dude, they do this on purpose. these news outlets all do some stupid fucking list. I mean, everyone does this. Like even the fucking like BuzzFeed does like top 11 whatever, and it just makes no sense. And it's like, all right, you just want to get people going.
Yeah, you're just trying to get Mets Twitter like all riled up and have
It's the ultimate form of trolling.
but it gets people talking about it, like we're talking about it right now.
It's the ultimate form of trolling, but good for them.
I can't wait to circle back on that and just be like, told you so. Told you so.
Yeah.
I saw this is a little kind of like not in the notes for today, but I saw your boy Jared Carabas tweeted that Stroman's going to finish top 10 in the Cy Young.
Yeah, I saw that. A couple of people have said that. CC Sabathia said he's a dark horse. So let's see, man. I just want him to stay healthy. I mean, I want it. That's pretty much my biggest concern with him. You know, just stay healthy and be able to pitch every fifth day, and I think the results will be there.
It's going to be interesting to see. We've kind of talked about this a little bit before too, but how do these guys who didn't play at all last year, how do they manage through 162? Like, and are there innings limits? Like, what's the deal here? So, I would say be cautious early and hope by mid-May that things are in full swing and the arm's feeling good.
Yeah. That'll be interesting across the league to see.
Absolutely.
We'll find out quick though.
Yeah. Another big thing at Mets camp this week, we had our guy, Mike Piazza, make a visit. Big Mike back at camp. I saw a video of him and Conforto talking in the dugout, and Mike was giving him some pointers. And they were talking about, turning over their wrists, it looked like, when they're swinging. And it's just great to see Mike back in uniform. He brought out the lineup card and got a nice big round of applause down there at a Clover Park. And he got to speak to the media too. And he mentioned that, a few things. He said that they're going to retire some more numbers soon and that the fans are going to be pretty excited about that. And he wasn't going to, give away any hints or any secrets. But he also mentioned he was going to be at the 20-year anniversary game, Mets-Yankees, September 11th this year. And Big Mike, always good to see Mike back in the orange and blue.
Yeah, took the jet from Italy to Port St. Lucie,
Yeah, that's no joke, man. He's got he owns a soccer team out there.
He full blown lives out there with his family. Yeah. It's pretty wild, but good to see him.
Mike's the best, man. It was such a weird way for him to end his career with the Padres and then the A's. For a Hall of Famer to kind of go out like that was kind of shitty, but it's a business. These things happen. I'll never forget. I was at Piazza's second game back to Shea Stadium, and he was on the Padres, and it was the game where he hit 2 home runs off Pedro Martinez.
I was going to bring that up.
I was at this game with my dad, and then so he hit the third one. I think I can't remember who the third one was off. It might have been off of Billy Wagner. But he hit the third one about 400 feet to dead center. And and Shea Stadium started booing him, and he was dying laughing going back to the dugout. It was great. It was the perfect sort of banter and the back and forth between the player and the fan, and the respect that's always been there from Mike and the Mets fans.
That's a good game to go to because I was going to bring it up because I remember watching it on TV, them cheering him in the beginning, and then he hits the 1 home run. Like, all right, cool, still good to see you.
Yep.
It's the second one, and then
okay, don't do anymore.
Boo City, and he had and I didn't know this till after his career, but he had a little bit of a mini rivalry with Pedro too. They didn't get along. There's actually this guy does awesome on videos on YouTube of just crazy sports rivalries, and he does one Mike Piazza versus Pedro, and he goes all the way back to when Pedro was on the Expos. It's pretty cool.
Expos Dodgers, right? Probably
Yeah,
with the Dodgers.
it was something like I don't even know if it started like on the field though. It was something like a little personal. It was pretty cool.
Interesting. I got to check that out. I never would have known that.
Yeah. And I think that video will say it too, that Pedro needed, or Mike had to approve the Pedro trade to the Mets.
Huh.
They played one season together they played?
1.5.
Yeah, maybe 1.5 or 2.
1.5. It's not like Pedro was here for very long.
No, but they did.
But
people forget, like, they did play together.
Yeah, that's because it's a weird sort of crossover period from like, I mean, we're talking like 2000, 2005, 2006, 2007. It's a weird, that's not a time I want to go back to as a Met fan.
Yeah.
Later, maybe? 08?
Yeah, it's like an 8-year span that it could be, honestly. And it was just, let's see. I have to send you this video. It's pretty damn cool the way they like.
I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah.
You looking up Piazza stuff?
I'm trying to see when they played together because they did. Because there's pictures of them, like him catching.
Pedro was only here for like 3 years, and the last year he didn't even play. He was hurt. Then he went to Philly.
Oh yeah, remember that? He just like didn't play at all.
Didn't pitch. Yeah.
He wasn't even like great for us, but he was like he had some pretty good moments.
Oh,
he had some pretty good Mets moments.
Yeah, he did. I have a good Pedro memory too of him. He would tape a ball. He had a ball and he would wrap it in duct tape, and then he made like a big string of duct tape. So it was probably like 5 feet of duct tape. And he would take it and he would throw it behind the dugout, and people would try to grab the ball, and he would yank it back into the dugout.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking of on the field stuff, but yeah, sure, that too.
But that's Pedro being Pedro, right?
So he played 05 to 08.
Yeah.
Like 07 and 08, he like barely played it.
Barely played.
It was like almost like, 08 he had 100 innings pitched, but 07 was like 28 innings. Barely played.
Yeah. I think he missed almost the whole year that year. Yeah. Yep.
Pretty cool though. Yeah, so it probably was like 05 or 06 when him and Piazza were together.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then it had to be 08. Maybe it was early 07. I don't know, when Piazza came back with the Padres. Anywho, it doesn't matter. Let's talk Mets.
He finished in 07.
Piazza did?
Like finished with Oakland in 07. So it was 05 was the one season on the Mets he was with.
So it had to be 08 when he came back for the first time with the Padres. That makes sense.
No, I'm saying he was done with baseball after 2007.
Huh.
So he just played 1 year with the Padres in 2006 and then one with Oakland, and that's it.
So then it had to be – so then they only played together in 2005.
Yep.
Okay. All right,
yeah.
Glad we got that straightened out for everyone.
That was for me more than anyone else.
Both of us. Let's talk Mets bullpen. First off, I want to talk about my guy, Miguel Castro, because I told you, and I know it's spring training, and
you love saying this shit, but it's like, dude, if he implodes 2 weeks from now,
don't even put that out there. Don't put it out there. Miguel Castro's stats for this spring: 5 1/3, 1 hit, 0 runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. He's averaging 99 miles an hour on his fastball, so he's up 1 full mile an hour on his fastball. I don't think he's a dark horse to make the team at this point. I think he is on the team. I think he 100% is in the bullpen.
Yeah, no, I think he has to be with his stuff, too. Like, his stuff has always been good. Everyone's known that, but it's just, does he throw strikes with it? And now he is. And, there are some – like, it makes for a good issue to have, because if he's on the team, which I'm assuming he is at this point, then you got to send someone down. And they have talked about like what do we do with Betances?
Exactly. He's the one that's I think more than Familia on the hot seat. There's a chance they could just cut him and say bye. We don't want to deal with this.
They could, yeah.
I don't think it's likely. I would give it maybe like a 30% chance, but there's a chance that happens. Like we talked about earlier, we're not really, taking on any projects. Well, Betances kind of is looking like a bit of a project right now. And
dude, he's sitting at 90 to 91.
It's not good. It's not pretty, man.
It's not great at all. Especially someone like, you could obviously do well in the major leagues with that, but his style of pitching makes that.
It's not it. I don't know if they would just eat the money like that. I guess we'll see, right? This is new ownership, front office, new-ish, kind of. I guess we'll kind of see how they interact with this type of decision. I think Betances is owed like 6.8 this year, so it'd be like almost $7 million that you lose out on.
So it's literally their only option is to cut or trade, right?
Right. And no one's going to trade for him at this point. You cut him. He's got to go through waivers. Once he goes through waivers, he collects the 6.8, and then he can sign like a $100,000 contract somewhere, and he makes $6.9 million this year.
All right. So listen, like there's some things to consider here because you can do something like that, right? Where you just dead weight, get rid of them, whatever. But then you got to remember, Giseleman does have options, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think maybe one more left. He has an option. Jacob Barnes, who is,
I would say he's going to make the team too.
He's competing for a spot. He also doesn't have options, so he's most likely to make the team.
He's going to make the team. He's been unbelievable this spring too. He's been really, really good.
Right, but it also like, if he had an option, it would be a little bit of a different. You maybe think about something. You got to really keep Luke because I don't think he has options, and he is literally the only lefty on the 40-man other than
Lucchessi,
Tarpley, and Lucchessi.
Tarpley was signed to a minor league deal. I think he 100% starts in the minors. You have options there. Well,
yeah, but like 40-man also, you got to have some lefties on there.
Yes.
We're a little scarce in that. Now, we also got to, with another lefty, Jerry Blevins, right?
Yeah, I don't know what they do there. I would think that's another one.
It's like all or nothing. He's either going to be on the team or he's getting cut, right? Drew Smith is not going to make it just because he's had a sore shoulder, so he's probably out of the running, and he's got options, I believe, anyway. So they'll either put him on the DL or back down to the minors, and 100% to expect to see him at some point, but he's got to get healthy.
Yes.
So the question really then it comes down to is the lefties, what happens with Loop or Blevins, or do you really need both, or do we know Blevins' stats this spring?
I haven't seen much. I know he has not played a lot with the, how they call it, the A team and the B team. He's been with the B team. He's been with the B team for the most part, which kind of tells you, a little bit about what they're thinking. I don't know. I would be a little shocked if Jerry Blevins made the team, and
especially because what's his name? Montgomery is doing all right. Mike Montgomery.
Yeah.
He's got 4 2/3 innings of scoreless ball. It's not much, you know what I mean? But that's what happens with relievers in spring training.
Because we like Jerry, we love Jerry. He's a great personality. He's a good guy, but I don't really see it, happening.
But he could also have 4 scoreless innings too. I can't find his stats anywhere. Well, he could be throwing well too. I haven't heard much on him. That's the only thing.
I know. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. You would imagine the Betances question is the first, block that it's got to fall. I think it's hard to come into camp every year and tell all these guys that it's like, hey, it's an open competition, and then you have someone like Betances make the team. Is it really an open competition then?
Well, dude, there's always things like that with the team
I
where
know.
it's like, yeah, you have it's a business move more than anything. It's a
Right.
business move. It's protecting yourself. If Betances shits the bed the first 2 weeks in, it's like, all right, get rid of him. Like we have other guys, but it's important to know, like, who has options, who doesn't. So Barnes will be up. Montgomery doesn't have an option either. So you don't want to lose a lefty just because you don't know if you have room for him or not. You know what I mean? Especially if he's done well.
I think what we're getting down to here is that it comes down to Betances' salary versus Mike Montgomery.
You can't lose Montgomery if he continues to pitch well. He'll probably get like one or two more times in a game before opening day. But you're pretty much there with your decision, right?
Yeah, so you should be.
Dude, it's tough. They might have to just cut Betances because
I can totally see that happening.
Especially, like we said too, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago with Castro. Like, if he does good, Betances, Familia, expendable beyond belief. Like,
yeah. I mean, Familia is another one. Betances is an extreme outlier, but Familia is not worth $11 million by any means, and he's getting paid that much money. He better perform, or his ass is in the jackpot.
I haven't seen much on him either. Is he doing all right in spring? Like, I think he's all right.
I watched the other day, and first batter he faced, he walked him on 5 pitches. Like, you can't do that. You can't do it.
So I've seen a little bit, pretty much the same. It's like very inconsistent, and I don't know. I do lean towards probably letting Betances go and just
so do I. The more we walk, again, it's not our money to spend, so it's a little bit different. But I think this will be a telling decision from Steve Cohen and from Sandy Alderson. Are you willing to part ways with someone and cut them regardless of their salary? I mean, not regardless of the salary, but like that's, part of the decision making if they're not performing.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much what you said. You're right. Like it is kind of regardless of the salary. Like, you're not cutting it, man. We got other guys, and this is why we signed a bunch of these guys.
Here's where I'm going to make a parlay here. I don't know if this is necessarily the same situation, but this could be a telling decision to see, what they do here and then what happens next offseason with Robinson Cano and how they can maybe try to wiggle their way out of that contract. Obviously, this is 1 year, $7 million, $6.8 million left. It's a little bit different than what Cano's got left on his deal. But the way that they navigate these waters here could kind of give us a little bit more of an insight on how they will kind of approach Robinson Cano and his contract and his value to the team moving forward.
Yeah, I mean it's to a certain extent, but like you said, it's a lot different than someone making $24 million.
Yeah.
Oh man, let's not talk about that.
That's another can of worms we don't have to open right now, but it is something to think about. I think every decision that Steve Cohen and Sandy Alderson make, they're setting a precedent for, and this is how new ownership works, and this is how the new ownership will kind of be moving forward. So, this is a big decision to make, and I think it's a telling sign of, how things might be done in the future. That's all I'm saying there.
Let's only discuss Cano if he
gets popped again.
Yeah, if he pops again. My Harvey bobblehead almost. It always like edges off to the end.
Oh no. By the way, have you seen him at all down in Baltimore? What he's been with Baltimore? What he's been doing?
I saw some good reviews.
Yeah, same. I'm happy for him, man. I never root against Matt.
I will maybe buy the Orioles package if he's on the team.
Oh God. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself.
Maybe I just drive every fifth day to go see him start.
Hold
to
on.
Camden. It's not a bad drive.
You've got your bobblehead. I'm going to go get mine. I'll be right back. Hold on. 5 seconds. Here's my guys. Chewbacca and Mr. Met.
All right. So they've never hung out before ever. So what you can do with that, take it, put it on the ground, put your foot above it, and then just stomp on it really hard.
No, that's not going to happen. Met Solo is a staple to my decor.
I will say this is the nicest thing I'll ever say about Star Wars, so just get ready.
Okay.
The Mets have put out a ton of really cool like game day merch or giveaway stuff related to Star Wars, and I've seen other sports teams do the same, and it just works. It works when you have like just you could have anyone with, instead of a bat, they have a lightsaber, and then instead of a helmet, they have the
clone trooper.
Yeah, I'm like, that looks cool. So
do you remember Robinson Kenobi?
I thought that was cool. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It is cool.
I would actually think it's cool if, I'll even give you this, if they had a Star Wars Day.
They do. May the 4th.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying Major League has a Star Wars Day, right?
I think a lot of stadiums do that.
Can you let me speak?
Go ahead.
If they had every batter on May the 4th have a bat that looks like a lightsaber.
You know what? We're on to something. We might need Joe Torre's approval on that, but I think we can make it happen.
I kind of want to create that now.
We'll tag Joe Torre's office when we tweet this podcast out. How about that?
All right, that's a hell of an idea.
That's a great idea. And you should try to copyright that or something before somebody else gets to it, because that idea is going to be worth a lot of money one day.
I'm gonna have to figure that out. If I create a bat company and it's like these glow in the dark bats, but it glows in the day. Oh man! All right, I gotta go. I gotta get on that.
Yep. Well, we just went off on a tangent, but no, a good one. That was fun. Anyways, you got anything else? I'm good, man. I saw something the other day, just real quick for our diehards out there. It looks like the Mets are putting a statue in front of Citi Field, so Tom Seaver going up really soon, which is very exciting. But other than that, I got nothing else, man. I'm excited. We're another week closer to opening day, baby.
I can't wait. I bet you there's going to be – we'll talk about it next week of what to expect.
Yep, it'll be Bye-Bye Spring Training, Hello Opening Day, podcast number 12 next week.
Yep.
All right. You good?
I'm good. I'm done.
All right, let's put it in the books.